So this evening we are doing week 3 of a course I've created for you called Yoga4Health, and this week's class is called Immune Support, which we began to explore last week. So just a very brief recap. Last week we learned to lengthen the exhale and find the pause at the end of the exhale, and I mentioned how that long exhale stimulates the vagus nerve, which is the main nerve of the relaxation response, the parasympathetic nervous system in the body, and that in turn tends to reduce a lot of the stress hormones that are charging around our systems. If we look a little bit wider this week at supporting the strength of the immune system, there's just a couple of things to bear in mind. So the main way in which you can support a healthy immune system is through diet, exercise, lowered stress, and the lifestyle choices you make. So that might be drinking, or if you're taking recreational drugs, or any other stuff like that. And it's also age related. So our immune system tends to become less resilient as we get older. And that this is shown very clearly at the moment, isn't it, with the COVID outbreak and the way in which children and young people are very rarely seriously affected by the virus, but older people and those with underlying health conditions are. And those people are also the same people who tend to have either a suppressed or a weakened or just a less resilient immune system overall. So there's no magic yoga poses, unfortunately, that will give you a super powered immune system. But what the body really likes is to find a state of homeostasis, which is the medical term for balance. So it's all about reducing the things we can control, reducing our stress, making the body work very effectively. And one thing we can do with the posture work, which we'll do tonight, is think about the way in which we move lymph around the body. So as well as your circulatory system with the blood, you've got a lymphatic system, which is really crucial for moving disease-fighting white blood cells around the body. And that has very, very little by way of its own pumping system, and it relies a lot on skeletal muscles. So when we move our joints and muscles in all the ways they're meant to move, it really helps to move lymph at the same time. And you've probably seen people who are unable to move for one reason or another will tend to get a lot of swollen ankles, swollen legs, and that's the lymph pooling in the body. And again, it's another age-related thing. So we'll start now, and we'll begin a bit like last week, because we're gonna use the breath that we practiced last week and continue to use it throughout the class today. And then we'll do something slightly different at the end, because the one other thing that you can really do to strengthen the immune system that is within our control is to give yourself the best chance of having a good night's sleep. So that resting phase, when it's truly restful, when you don't have a wakeful night with a worrying mind, that's very restorative in terms of finding that homeostasis, that balance, and optimum immune function. So take a moment to sit comfortably. I always invite you to start these classes in a chair and end them in a chair, because it's so much easier to sit upright. But if you're on the mat cross-legged, that's absolutely fine, of course. So if you're happy to close your eyes, or just have a soft gaze, downcast, if you prefer to keep your eyes open. And we'll just take a few moments to listen to our body, to connect mindfully with exactly how we're feeling this evening. Notice all the sensations in the body, the points of contact that you have with the seat or the floor. Notice your energy levels. And notice whether the quality of your posture and the quality of your physical presence is one of ease and relaxation, or at the other end of the scale, is there some tension there, some contraction? And try not to judge either one of those. Most of us are going to be somewhere in the middle, and we'll use our breath and we'll use our mindful movement to unwind some of the tension and to take us into a place where we can really find that sense of balance. So moving the focus now from the physical body to our breath, and beginning to notice the inhale and the exhale as we breathe in and out through the nose. And always remember, if you've got a cold or the nose is blocked, just use the mouth at any time that you need to. And begin to subtly meter the flow of the breath. Beginning to guide it, beginning to notice the beginning, the middle and the end of the inhale, and the beginning, the middle and the end of the exhale. And then, as we talked about last week, allowing the exhale to have its natural quality of length. It will tend to be longer than the in-breath in any case, but we can invite that expression of space and length through the idea of the beginning, the middle, and the end of the out-breath to give us a really long, smooth exhale. That after the next couple of breaths, you can begin to add in a moment of pause right at the end of your out-breath. So breathing in, and then a long exhale. And at the end of the exhale, looking for that moment of space and stillness until the in-breath naturally arises. And just play with that in a very compassionate and friendly way. As soon as you get competitive with yourself and try to extend the pause into something a bit more concrete, what we would call an external retention in yoga, that can actually have the opposite effect to creating the balance and space and ease that we want. So guard against that. Just find that really easy, long exhale, dying away to that point of stillness and pause. And consider that moment of stillness and pause at the end of the out-breath as the most important part of your breath. The breathing in and the breathing out is important, but it's at the end of the exhale, in that moment when nothing is happening, that we can sometimes catch a glimpse of something deeper, stiller, something that feels a little more grounded and permanent than the ever-changing, ever-flowing in-breath and out-breath. And then just do 2 more breaths in your own time. And at the end of the next exhale, just pausing for a moment, noticing any shift in how you feel in your body and how you feel in your mind and your breath. And then blinking open the eyes and giving the arms a little shake. We're going to start our mobilization in the chair, but again, you can do this from the mat if you want to, just adapt it a little. So we're just shaking the arms, trying to shake them as if they are hanging from the shoulders and have no muscle tone within them at all. So a real feeling of jelliness and softness about the arms. And then just let them hang. And as you take the shoulders forwards and up, as you breathe in and back and down as you breathe out, try to keep these arms absolutely hanging and soft. So the shoulders work to lift the arms through the rotation of the shoulder girdle, and then the weight of the arms help to draw the shoulders down and away from the ears as you breathe out. And then try one where we breathe in and lift the shoulders as high as we can, and at the same time sucking the head down into the body, so our neck almost feels like it's disappearing. And then as we breathe out, doing the opposite and really making the neck as long as possible, drawing the shoulders down towards the ground, lifting the crown of the head straight up, just noticing how that affects the spine. And maybe you'll even feel a little bit of engagement through the core and through the pelvic floor. Let's do that once more. Breathing in, shoulders up, head tucked in, but like a tortoise. And then breathing out, space and length. And then turn the palms out, bring the fingertips towards the top of the shoulders, and now rotating the elbows. And taking your time here, this is a really big movement. It's often one of the last shoulder mobilizations we do, but we're using this one a little bit earlier on, and not spending quite so much time on the shoulders as we did last week. So if you missed last week and you're now kicking yourself, don't forget you can catch it up on YouTube if you want to. So with each circle, you maybe can find just a little bit more space without forcing the circle into a place where there's a little feeling of knotting up and tensing up happening. So make the continuation of the softness and the ease in the shoulders your prime concern, and just invite these circles to get a little bit wider and fuller with each rotation. And this is going to be the last one. And then again, as we breathe out, let the arms hang, give the arms another shake, give the shoulders a little wriggle. And then bring the palms together in front of the hand. And we're doing some wrist circles now. So just literally take the thumbs forward, let the palms open, roll onto the back of the hand, tuck them around, and then you end up palms back together. So from the side, it looks like this. It's quite a big movement of the wrists, and you're also actually doing some medial and lateral inward and outward rotation with these upper arms as you do that. And we're going to make this a really flowing movement, and we're going to go one circle in one direction, one circle in the other, and then bring the palms together, bring the heels of the palms away so that you are just pressing the fingertips, and then move the wrist down so that you're giving every single finger a stretch as you do that. And then if we just move in and do a little bit of this, so moving from the little finger to the thumb, kind of rolling across the fingers, we can stretch each finger in turn. Fantastic. And then we're going to bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, and just turn the palms away from you. So it's really easy to do too much here. So you're just going to very gradually push the palms away. It's another little back bend for the fingers, but also quite a lot of stretch through the heel of the hand. So if you've got any wrist issues, any carpal tunnel or anything like that, you're going to be quite careful with how you do this. And then, because we worked on the shoulders earlier, we're just going to release the shoulders down on an exhale. And then as we breathe in, we're going to take these arms up. They're slightly disappearing out of shot, but I'm taking the arms overhead, just as high and as far back as the shoulders will allow. And then exhale, taking the palms down, and once more breathing in. So we're trying to feel this movement without the shoulders really tightening and moving up towards the ears, and exhale down. And then if you turn the palms so they're facing in, that's a much more comfortable place to be. We're going to do the same thing again, keep the elbows soft. So this should feel like an easy movement, and from here we're going to take a little side stretch, leaning to the right, doesn't matter which way you go first really. Inhale, and that long exhale, and pause to stretch the other side. So as we move more into the stretches, we'll use a little bit more focus of our breath for tonight, the lengthened exhale and the pause, just to support that extra space in the body. This time coming up, stretch out once more, and then as you bend the arms, place the back of the head into the palms, and we're just doing a little bit of circling very slowly. And this is not so much the shoulders, it's more into the upper back, and we're just feeling the movement there. And then coming to center, relax the shoulders forward a little bit, and then as you exhale, let the head come forwards until the head is fully extended forward. This is a position called flexion of the head, and you're feeling a stretch with the back of the neck. And we're just resting the hands there for a little bit of extra weight. We're not pulling the head down at all at this point. And this is a very safe position for the head compared with taking it the other way backwards. And the back of the neck does tend to get a little bit compressed due to bad posture and other reasons. So we'll take a little bit of time here, and what you can do now is just a very subtle rotation. So look, if you're looking down and a clock face is 6 o'clock, looking straight down, just kind of look across to what we might say 7 or 8 o'clock, and then as you, that's on an inhale, and then exhale looking back down, and then inhale, turn the head looking around to about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and back. Just hang out for 1 or 2 more breaths, notice the stretch in the neck, and then inhale, bring the head up, and exhale, release the arms down, give the arms a shake, give the shoulders a release. And when we've had the arms up in a long time in the air, it can feel quite sort of tingly in the shoulders, and that is all absolutely fine as long as it's not at all painful. So we're going to do a little bit with the feet now, and we'll begin by just lifting the right leg, supporting the right leg with the hands. If you're on the mat, just make this work, maybe sit on a block or two. And we'll begin with a movement we do a lot, which is rotating the ankle and then rotating in the other direction, and then push the heel away, pull the toes back, point the toes, scrunch the toes under, pull the toes back, and now keep the toes pulled back and try to spread the toes. And then this one might slightly do your head in, but what I want you to try to do is point the 4 toes down towards the floor and the big toe up towards the ceiling. So it looks a bit like that. And then see if you can reverse it. Reversing it is a lot harder. So big toe goes down and little toes, all the other toes come up. I was doing that perfectly, but now my brain and my foot don't seem to be connected. There we go. Okay, and then place the right foot down. Let's just come onto the other leg and rotate the left ankle and rotate in the other direction. Pull the toes back, point the toes, scrunch them under, pull the toes back and spread the toes, and then try your little big toe pointing up, toes pointing down, and then big toe pointing down, rest of the toes pointing up. If you actually sort of sit for 5 minutes, not now, and kind of tell your foot to do that, a bit like in there's a scene in Kill Bill 2, which you may remember when she gets her foot working again. It's a bit like that. You just have to really, really concentrate. It's probably the first time anyone's referenced Kill Bill 2 in a yoga class, or perhaps not actually, because there's quite a good guru-disciple relationship in there as well. Okay, so grab a belt, take the belt round the right foot. So we're going to do the stretch we did last week to begin with. So inhale, bend the knee, exhale, extend. Just give you the side view on that. Inhale and exhale. Really let the belt pull the foot back. So that's the pointed position, that's neutral, and we're coming back this way. And then you'll really feel the stretch in the back of the calf as well as the hamstring. So that's actually going to be the target muscle for this practice in a moment. We're just going to give our hamstrings and the whole of the leg a nice little bit of lengthening. And then on the next exhale, you're going to keep the right leg straight and you're going to point the toes away, and then you're going to relax as you exhale and allow the belt to pull the foot back. So this time, as you breathe in and you try to point the toes, the belt is strong and is resisting that, and then you relax and pull, and it pulls it back. So what that is doing is strengthening the two calf muscles at the back of the thigh there, which are probably the two most obvious muscles in terms of pumping lymph up from the foot and the legs back up. So the two calf muscles, soleus and gastrocnemius, as they contract and relax, they massage those lymph channels in the leg and really help to move the lymph along. So even when you can't do something as strong as this, and this is really no different from when we are doing our raising and lowering the feet that we do almost every week, and that's another good reason for doing it. So even if you're finding this tough, or someone was finding this tough, you could just have the feet down and be doing a little bit of this. And if you look at any kind of aeroplane yoga to avoid deep vein thrombosis, this is the kind of thing they're getting passengers to do with their feet, and it's partly to help the circulation of blood, but also of lymph. Okay, let us move on to the other leg, and perhaps dream of the day when we can travel by plane again without too many restrictions, while also doing our carbon offsetting and taking the train when you can. And I'm just throwing that in on behalf of the planet, but also my wife Laura, who you possibly know is a conservationist. So this is something we are particularly interested in. So we're on the hamstring stretch. Exhale, long exhale. Inhale, bending the knee. Long exhale, pause. Remembering to really allow that foot to be pulled back so you feel the stretch in the lower leg and not just through the back of the thigh. And then on the next exhale, keeping the leg straight. And remember, it's an exhale, belt pulls the leg back, and then inhale, pushing through the toes. So you need the belt, down towards the two balls of the feet, just behind the toes there, to really push away as you breathe in, and then relax the foot back. And then use the tension of the belt to create resistance and feel as if you're building up the muscle tone there in the back of the thigh. And some people, those calf muscles get quite tight, can be chronically tight due to ill-fitting shoes or too many high heels, that kind of thing. And stretching them out is one solution, but also strengthening them. A muscle that is toned and strong and that you have more control over is also one that you can release more easily. Okay, we're going to just release the belt from that. So we've got one last thing to do with the feet. And it may be quite a big move if you're in a chair to get your foot right up on the thigh. So if that's the case, just extend the leg forward and lean forward a little bit so that you can reach the foot. The crucial thing here is to make sure that this knee is happy. So if the hip is tight, you might actually need to work over here or down here. So just find a position where you can hold the lower leg or support it with blocks if you're sitting on a mat, and ensure there's absolutely no pain in the knee. And then we're going to take the right hand, I've got the right foot here, and wrap them over the toes. And with our hands, it just gives us that opportunity to really stretch the sole of the foot. So I can hold the heel of the right foot with the left hand. My hands are wrapping over the toes, and I'm just really pulling those toes back and stretching this sole of the foot. This is the plantar fascia. And as you do that, and if you can see the sole of the foot, you can really see the arches, both going across the foot and long ways inside and outside. And we want to see those arches and keep them really healthy. So this is a big stretch for the sole of the foot. And then if we go the other way, we curl the toes under and use the other hand to crunch them in a gentle, non-violent way. So now we're stretching the top of the foot, and everything is squeezing in, and the sole of the foot is getting all wrinkly and a bit shorter than it was. And then the last thing we're going to do is a little bit of side to side. So you use the hands to hold either side of the foot. Your hips are very open. You can see the sole of the foot. You can work like this, or you can work like this if you need to keep the knee higher because the hip is tighter. And this side to side movement is really good at moving some of the 26 bones and joints that you have in here that are often just contained in shoes all day. So, you know, don't worry about it. They're pretty robust, these feet and these joints. As long as it's not painful, really feel like you're giving it a good kind of wringing out, like it's a dishcloth you're trying to squeeze the water out of. Okay, and then we just finish off. We're going to squeeze the foot, squeeze the lower leg, calf, just behind the knee, just behind the, above the knee on the thigh, middle of the thigh, top of the thigh, and then release the leg down and just give that right leg a little bit of a shake. So if you be a little bit quicker on this side, because you'll know what position you need to get the foot in, guarding against any discomfort in the knee, which will be due to a tight hip and the knee trying to overcompensate for that. Left hand coming over the top, pulling the toes back, right hand holding the heel. Really good long stretch for the plantar fascia here. Pulling the toes back. And then curling the toes the other way, using the right hand now to really squeeze them round to stretch the top of the foot. And then giving the left foot that side to side massage. And when we really get to know our feet, we keep them supple and strong. You can really appreciate the amazing adaptability for different terrain that is built into this series of arches and complex and numerous joints and bones of the feet. So it's really a nonsense to not pay them lots of attention. Otherwise, you'll end up sort of hobbling around with atrophied feet, and that increases your risk of falls and things as you get older. Okay, lovely. Let's release that left leg down. Let's give the right leg a shake, give the left leg a shake. And then the last thing we'll do is we're going to take two more things actually. We're going to do a little forward bend, and we're going to do a twist, then we'll come down onto the mat. So just sit a little more upright in your chair or on the mat. If you're on the chair, feet flat on the floor, all the curves of the spine are there, head is stacked over the heart, heart over pelvis. You're going to breathe in, take both arms up, keep the shoulders soft, kind of cactus arms position like this. And then breathing out, take the hands down onto the thighs, and then use the arms just to lower the upper body down. And last of all, end of that exhale, tuck the chin in, let the head hang, and pause. As you breathe in, lift the head, flatten the back, and then use the back muscles to come up. Cactus arms, draw the shoulders back, soft shoulders. Exhale, coming forwards, and bow down. Inhale, lift the head, flatten the back, and then raise a neutral spine, open the heart. We're going to do 2 or 3 more of these in our own time. Really integrating our breath work with this movement now. No holding the breath, just finding that moment of stillness and pause at the end of the long exhale, and inviting your spine to lengthen and soften throughout that exhale phase. Don't forget, if you're used to using Ujjayi breath, then feel free to use the Ujjayi breath, particularly on the exhale. It will help you to support that long exhale and pause. So do 1 more if you're still working, or you just finished, make that the last one. And then we're going to sit sideways on the chair. This is our last one. We're going to do a little twist now. So I'm going to bring the arms up so they're a little bit higher than the back of my chair. You may have a different kind of chair. I'm absolutely sideways on. So now if I breathe in and make the spine as long as possible, tuck the chin in, and then turn to face the back of the chair. Like me, you may be able to grab the back of the chair with the hands and use that as a gentle leverage just to draw the shoulders round a little bit further. So take a couple of breaths here with the head and the shoulders both going clockwise. Inhaling, holding the stillness in the posture, finding the length in the spine, and the long exhale and pause to maybe soften a little bit deeper into the twist. And then keep the shoulders where they are. Let's say that you've done all the work you're going to do there. And on the next inhale, turn the head the opposite way, and breathing out, release the head around to the left. And then 2 more breaths. Inhale, lengthening the axis of the spine. And as you breathe out, softening the shoulders around to the right and softening the head around to the left. So the head and the shoulders are trying to twist in opposite directions. Try and keep everything easy. Effort is there, but tension is absent. And then on the next inhale, release the head, release the shoulders, come around to the front of the chair, and then sitting around to the other side. Inhale, nice and tall, and exhale, repeating our twist around to the other side, developing the anti-clockwise twist first with the shoulders and the head. Then after around 3 breaths, using an inhale to turn the head, and then using the exhale to release into the twist a little bit more. Shoulders going round to the left, head coming back round to the right towards the center of the room. We just give ourselves the same number of breaths on that side. So let's say 1 more will just about do that. And then breathing in, release, come back to center. And then breathing out, counter pose with a nice easy forward bend where you can keep the hands on the thighs, or some of you might like to just let the arms hang, let the head hang, keep the hips rooting back towards the chair, and just feel the spine coming back into that lovely length, particularly in the lower back, and that feeling that you are coming back to the center line of the body after twisting to the right and to the left. So we'll move on now to working on the floor, and we're going to begin, as we often do, with the knees bent, the feet flat on the floor. And you're just going to use your fingertips to check that the lower back is flat. With the knees bent, this should be fairly easy. And then move the hands from the floor to the belly and feel as if you're just drawing in the deep muscles of this lower abdominal area. And the feeling is that you're pressing the lower back down to the floor. We've done this lots of times in this class. And then we're going to breathe in, and we're going to try and keep that sense of zipping up through the lower abdominals. We're going to breathe in, take the arms up into the air and overhead, just as far as they'll go, really finding a fullness of in-breath. And then as you do your long exhale, bring the palms back to the belly, finish the last part of that exhale by really exaggerating the drawing in of the tummy muscles, and then feel that that takes you into the pause. Like you're squeezing out the last bit of air from the bellows as they close, just before they open again, to allow the in-breath to come in. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Let's just do 2 or 3 more of these. Exhale, drawing in. Very nice. And then I've got a slightly stronger version of that. So if you don't have lower back issues, if you have any reason where you shouldn't work the tummy muscles strongly, and don't forget, you're always free to update me on any changes in your health or any advice on modifications. So as long as you haven't got any restrictions there, you can work these tummy muscles and this core fairly strongly. We're going to bring the knees in over the chest. So I'll just demonstrate this first. The in-breath looks the same, arms are coming overhead, and then exhale as the arms come back. This time I'm going to reach either side of the knees, and I'm going to bring the knees in slightly and raise the shoulders. So both the tailbone is lifted and the shoulders have lifted, and everything is really firm and strong in this area of the abdomen. Breathing in, just take the head down, arms overhead. Keep the knees where they are. Long exhale, pause, reach and curl. Inhale, relax the head down. Make sure you've got adequate support under the head. Might be quite a thick blanket or quite a number of yoga blocks. 2 yoga blocks could be. So that when you place that head down, the back of the neck is long. You're not going into a chin up position. And you should be beginning to feel a little bit of warmth and strength coming into these tummy muscles as we work this. And it's quite strong muscle work, but we're still trying to keep that sense of fullness of in-breath, beginning, middle, end of exhale, and pause. So if that's already enough for you, just drop the knees down. Otherwise, we're going to do 1 more. And then this time we'll take the head down and we'll hold the shins or hold the back of the thigh, and we'll just do a little rocking from side to side. And as we rock from side to side, we'll do a gentle roll of the head in the other direction. And then we will release the hands down, keep the knees together, and just do some tiny circles around the back of the pelvis. I'm not going to do too many of these. Just going to do 2 clockwise and 2 anti-clockwise. We're going to take the hands onto the knees, separate the knees, and do some big circles. Inhale half a circle, exhale the other half. Long exhale and pause, and just rippling out with the circles, making them slightly bigger with each out breath. And then 2 around in the other direction. Remember, if there's only 1 hip opener you're going to do, this is the one to do. And then we're back where we started. The hands are going back down onto the mat. So that was partly just to give this abdominal area a little bit of a rest, because we've got one more core practice where we're just going to rock the knees from side to side. So on an exhale, take the knees over to the right, inhale back to center, exhale to the left, inhale to center, and so on. And you're just going to do that as far as feels right for you. And don't think of this as a twist. So there's no point trying to take the knees to the floor. This is about strengthening. And if you're interested, it's the internal obliques, another muscle that gets name checked in this class because it's quite an important one for spinal support. So again, won't do too many of these, but if you've got weakness in the lower back, you can see how the back is very supported here. So this is an excellent way of strengthening the muscles that support your back without putting it at risk. And then next time the knees come to center, we're going to take the feet down. We're going to drop the knees over to the right to come into our twist. Roll the head to the left. Extend the arms away from your shoulder height, palms facing upwards, and really draw the shoulders down, shoulder blades flat on the mat. If the knees are separated a little bit, squeeze the thighs together. That action should bring this left hip round a little bit further and help you feel that you're going a bit deeper into the twist. I'm looking the same way as the knees, but you can look the opposite way to mobilize the neck. If you are a very twisty person and you're not really feeling anything, you could just come out, lift the feet off the mat and come back into it. But try that knee squeeze first, and only do that if you've got no lower back issues. Very nice. So breathing in, coming back to center, and then breathing out, dropping the knees over to the left side this time, rolling the head to the right. And again, if the legs have separated, just squeezing the thighs together, inviting that right hip round a little bit more to deepen your twist. Inhaling, imagining the length of the spine, which is actually maintained by the fact that you're lying down. And so it's more important just to focus on the exhale for these lying twists. Exhale is the release of any tension in any of the muscles that wrap around the body that may just be holding you back from finding that additional millimeter or two of flexibility in your spine. Well done. And then breathing in, bring the knees to center and counterpose by hugging the knees in and rocking from side to side. So we're going to come up onto all fours now and do a little bit of cat. And as usual, you've got that option of traditional cat with the hands on the mat, remembering that the hands are hand width in front of the shoulders, spreading the fingers, really working the whole of the hand and the finger pads down into the mat. Don't hang out on the wrists or the heels of the hand. If you tuck the chin in and look backwards, the thighs look vaguely vertical, knees are hip width apart, and the knees are really well padded so there's no discomfort. Breathing in, the subtle movement, drawing the shoulders back, slightly widening the sit bones and allowing the mid-back to sink between the shoulder blades. And breathing out, more of an active movement. Tuck the chin in, tuck the tailbone under and arch up and lift. Imagine somebody's just grabbing the shirt between your shoulder blades and lifting you up as you arch up on the exhale. Inhale, shoulders and sit bones widen. Exhale, arching up. So just continue for a couple more rounds of cat. Those of you who would prefer not to take weight into the wrists, remember you've always got the chair here where you can do exactly the same movement, resting on the forearms without any trouble at all. And then on the next exhale, we're just going to rest for a moment. So either taking pose of the child, if you're using a chair, just make a pillow, rest the forehead down. And then we've got a back strengthener, and I'm going to offer two ways, because not everybody is completely comfortable lying on their front, and occasionally there's just a medical reason why that's not going to be working particularly well. So you could try both of these. We're stretching out, the feet are hip width apart, and you can point the toes or tuck the toes under as you like. You're going to rest the forehead down onto the back of the hands, or you could rest them on a yoga block. As you breathe in, you're going to lift the right leg, and as you breathe out, you're going to lower it. And inhale, raise the left leg, exhale, lower it. When you've done a few rounds of that one, you can, if you want to, and you do kind of need a yoga block for this one, is add in an arm movement where we don't raise the head at all. We lift the opposite arm and leg. On the inhale, exhale down. Inhale, exhale down. And just continue with that for a few more. And when your body tells you you've done enough, coming into counter pose. And if you are not lying on your front, you just do the exactly same thing with the legs, but from the supported cat position. Inhale, extending, exhale, lowering. And if you're doing it from this cat position, you need just a little bit more focus on keeping the pelvis steady. You haven't got the floor there underneath you, so there's the danger of the pelvis rotating. You want to keep the back of the pelvis nice and light. And again, take your time, do a couple more, or take rest and then do a couple more. Strengthening the back, strengthening the glutes, really fundamental to long-term back health and posture, which feeds into good breathing, which feeds into our theme of removing tension from the body and providing at least the best kind of structure and function for our immune systems to work at their best. Okay, so make the one you're on the last one, and then we're going to come into a moment of rest. And then when you've done pose of the child or something similar, we're going to come up and we're going to use the back of the chair for our downward dog this week, and then just a little bit of standing work. So if you're not using a chair, you could use a wall, or if you really want to do a downward dog from the mat, that would be fine as well. If you don't have any of the usual reasons to avoid head below heart, like high blood pressure or any kind of cardiovascular conditions. So we're gonna bend the knees, and it just takes a little bit of adjustment to find the right position and making sure the chair is really stable, it's not going to move. And then we'll do this dynamically. So we're going to breathe in, slightly arch the back, and then breathe out and sink the chest down. It's a nice stretch for the shoulders. Don't worry about the legs at this stage. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. With each exhale, feel like you're sending the hips back, stretching out through the sit bones, supporting the lower back by drawing in the abs, and you can really feel the spine lengthening, and that stretch carries on past the end of the spine, through the tendon here of your latissimus dorsi, through the shoulder joint and out to the fingers. In fact, you only really need flat hands on the top of the chair here to make this work really well. Breathing in, coming up, slightly releasing, breathing out, stretching back. So right about now, we can just hold this posture for a few breaths. And if you want to, if you can keep your core engaged, keep the breath a little bit more in the chest, you can begin to straighten the legs and take the stretch into the legs as well. What you don't want to feel as you do that is that the hips are being pulled and the back is beginning to round. So that long spine is the most important thing, but the leg stretch is an added bonus. This really is a great way to do the dog. It gives you different things in the shoulders, it gives you all the same space in the spine, and it gives you a really nice stretch in the legs as well. And then soften the knees, breathing in, coming up. And then we'll turn our chair around, because we really can't do this class without adding in our lunge. So we're going to take the right foot onto the chair. Remember, we've hardly turned out the left foot. Really making sure you're safe here. You're not going to slip. Chair's not going to move. Foot is not going to slip. We've got socks on a slippy floor or anything like that. And then using the arms to keep the spine upright. So we don't want to round the back or go forwards. We want to draw the spine away from this thigh, because really the line of stretch we're creating is through the chest and then through the top of this left leg and all the way back to that left heel. At the same time, drawing the shoulders back and down, keeping the gaze forwards. No need to lift the head here. Feeling the stretch in the back of the left leg, front of the left leg, and the hip opening as well. And then inhale, just backing out, bring that right leg down, switch to the left leg, and coming into the left leg lunge. You can see the shape of the back bend a lot more clearly with this leg towards the camera, and it's this front part of the right thigh that we want to feel is working. So not turning out that back foot any more than 1 or 2 centimeters. Very nice. And then releasing from the lunge, give the legs a little stretch. Going to do a little work now from standing. And we'll begin with the feet slightly wider than hip width apart, bringing the palms together. At the end of your next exhale, releasing the hands down, and then roll the shoulders back, sweep the arms around and up, and reach up, palms together. Exhale, draw the hands down through the midline of the body. Again, this is one we do regularly as a transition and to re-release the shoulders after the weight-bearing work in the cat and in the dog, even though we mitigated against that weight-bearing quite a lot with the chair. And then you know what's coming next. We're going to breathe in and raise the toes as the arms come up. And exhale, relax them as the arms come down. We're going to inhale, float up the heels, and exhale, release the heels down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling, toes up. Exhaling, toes down, long exhale and pause. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, heels down, long exhale and pause. Give the arms a little shake. So I've got a very, very simple sequence that we're going to do now. Just going to show you once. We'll start with the hands in prayer position. We're going to be breathing in to this cactus position, which is a release of the shoulders, drawing back of the shoulders, a lifting and opening of the upper back. So as much of that as we can get on that inhale. And then we're going to exhale with the knees bent, And we're going to bring the hands onto the thighs and come down to just a really gentle, slight curve of the back, tuck the chin and let the head hang. Inhale, flatten the back, and then exhale, have a choice now just to straighten the legs to take the stretch, or you can go all the way down to the mat if you like to do a full forward bend. And it's time to breathe in. You're going to bend the knees, bring the hands back onto the thighs, and then power up with the glutes. Open into the cactus arms, exhale, release. And then the last bit of this sequence is inhale, raise the right knee, exhale, down. Inhale, raise the left leg, grab the shin or the thigh, exhale, down, and good to go again. So you may have been doing that along with me, but we'll go together now. I'm going to do several of these in a row. Inhale, cactus arms, open the shoulders. Exhale, bend the knees, hand to thighs, easy forward bend. Inhale, come halfway up, flatten the back. Long exhale and pause, forward bend. Inhale, bend the knees, flatten the back, and then power up. Cactus arms, open the heart. Exhale, release the hands back together. Inhale, shift the weight, raise the right leg, grab the shin. Long exhale and pause, graceful release. Inhale, grab the left leg. Exhale, release. Next round, breathing in. Breathing out, long exhale, easy forward bend. Inhale, halfway up, hover the hands if you want, strengthen the back a bit more. Exhale, full forward bend, hands on thigh or hands to the floor. Inhale, bend the knees, flatten the back, come up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, one breath balance. Exhale, release. Inhale, left leg balance. Exhale, release. 3 more rounds in your own time, being led by your breath. At the end of your third one, just pause for a moment, release the hands. Maybe just close the eyes for a moment. Check in with how you're feeling in your body, your breath, quality of your mind. Notice the heat in the body and the dynamic movement. That heat really started with the core work we did to ignite that little run of really quite intense muscle work to strengthen the muscles. As we strengthen the body, that also has a knock-on effect in terms of keeping the immune function strong. So let us now take our usual resting pose. Taking the lower legs onto the chair, resting the head on a blanket or yoga block, and if you have another yoga block, place that under the back of the pelvis to give you a full, albeit mild inversion, legs and hips higher than the heart, but the head remaining level. Which makes it a very safe place to get the benefits of an inversion. Allow your eyes to close, and we're going to take around about 5 breaths here, but the purpose here is to really find a soft and slowing rhythm as your heart rate begins to slow down, and as we close our practice and come into our relaxation. If you're finding this a really comfortable position, you want to stay here a little bit longer, please feel free to start the relaxation here. Otherwise, coming into the relaxation position that you favor, again, supporting the head, maybe with the legs straight or the knees bent, or even lying on your side if that's what you need to do. And taking a moment to find the symmetry of the body. So tuck the chin in, tuck the tailbone under, feel that the arms and the legs are equidistant either side of the spine. And then keeping the eyes closed, and if you don't want to close the eyes, then feel free just to have a soft gaze up towards the ceiling. And then bring your awareness to the right foot. As you breathe in, imagine that you are drawing breath up from the ground into the right foot. And as you breathe out, use your long exhale and pause to relax the right foot. Move your awareness to the whole of the lower right leg and the calf muscles we were working so strongly. And as you breathe in, draw the breath up from the ground into the lower right leg, and long exhale and pause and relax the lower right leg. Inhale, right knee. Exhale, long exhale, pause. Breathing up and down from the ground, right thigh. Inhale, up from the ground. Long exhale and pause, back down to the ground. And the right hip. Inhale, exhale, pause. Breathing into the whole of the right leg and right hip, and long exhale and pause. And allow the whole of the right leg to soften and release. Awareness to the left foot, breathing up from the ground. Long exhale back down to the ground and pause. Lower left leg, breathing up from the ground. Long exhale back down to the ground and pause. Left knee, inhale up from the ground. Exhale down to the ground and pause. Left thigh, inhale. Exhale and pause. Left hip, inhale up from the ground. Exhale back down to the ground and pause. The whole of the left leg and left hip, breathing into the whole of that area, and exhale, long exhale back down to the ground. Allow yourself to feel as much softness and release as you can in the whole of the left leg. Bring your awareness to the back of the pelvis and the lower back, particularly if you have any experience of discomfort there. Breathing up from the ground, long exhale back down to the ground from the lower back and the back of the pelvis. One more time, inhale up from the ground, exhale back down to the ground. Now the upper back, the rib cage. Inhale up from the ground. Exhale back down to the ground. Inhale up from the ground. Exhale back down to the ground. Right up to the top of the back and the back of the neck. Inhale up from the ground. Long exhale back down to the ground. Awareness of the right hand and wrist. Inhale. Long exhale and pause. Right forearm. Inhale. Exhale back down to the ground and pause. Right upper arm, inhale. Exhale, pause. Right shoulder, inhale. Right shoulder, exhale, pause. The whole of the right arm and right shoulder, inhale up from the ground and exhale back down to the ground. Experience as much softness and release as you can in the right arm and right shoulder. Awareness to the left hand and left wrist, inhale. Long exhale and pause. The left forearm, inhale up from the ground. Exhale down to the ground and pause. Left upper arm, inhale. Exhale and pause. Left shoulder, inhale. Left shoulder, exhale, pause. The whole of the left arm and the left shoulder, inhale up from the ground and long exhale back down to the ground and pause. Experience as much space and softness as you can in the left arm and the left shoulder. Awareness to the head, the back of the head, sides of the head, crown of the head and the face. Inhale up from the ground. Exhale back down to the ground. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Soften and release. Let the eyes rest back into the sockets. Let the jaw release. Let the tongue lie softly in the mouth. Be aware of the whole of your body. Let the whole of your body breathe up from the ground. And let the whole of your body exhale back down to the ground. Long exhale and pause. And one more time. Whole body, inhale. Whole body, exhale. Let's take a few moments here of stillness. Release your breath into its own natural rhythm. And now let your breath deepen a little. Move the fingers, wriggle the toes, and stretch into your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. If you're lying on your back with the legs straight, bend the knees, roll onto your right side. Take a couple of breaths there. And then make your way back up to sitting. We're going to finish with a short breathing practice, which you can do either cross-legged on the mat or back in the chair. And this is the sleep hygiene reminder. We all need telling. I need telling. Don't really have to check Facebook or anything else last thing at night. Trying to avoid the screens. But we all find ourselves in that place where the mind is just a little bit too active to help us get to sleep, and this breathing practice can really help with that. So it's very, very familiar. If you're not touching the face for any reason, then you can just visualize the breath, the exhale coming out of alternate nostrils. Otherwise, we're just going to use the index finger to close one nostril or the other. And we use exactly the same breath, but because we're only breathing out of one nostril, that long exhale is going to be even longer. It's going to give us even more vagus nerve toning and stimulation, which is going to emphasize the relaxation response, really help to quieten the mind. That's why it works so well as a kind of soporific, mind calming practice last thing at night. So all the inhales are in through both nostrils, and just the exhales are out through alternate nostrils. So close the eyes or have the eyes downcast. Take a deep, full breath in through both nostrils. When you're ready to breathe out, use the index finger to close the left nostril and long exhale. And pause. Release the hand, inhale. Close the right nostril, long exhale and pause through the left nostril. Inhale both, and now just carry on with that rhythm. Make it work for your breath, keeping the breath full and smooth and without strain. And the next time you exhale through the left nostril, release the hands, return your breath to its own natural rhythm. Just take a final moment to check in with yourself. Maybe just particularly noticing whether the sense of calm was enhanced a little bit by that final breathing practice. And I certainly hope you sleep well tonight. So thank you for joining me in tonight's class. I will see you next week.